Hi, I'm Jeremiah Proffitt, and welcome to a very special edition of Proffitt's Resurrection Land Cruisers TV. I have to admit that I feel a little funny without my wife standing next to me, but she'll be able to join us a little bit later in this episode. In this episode, we are going to do a very special thing. We're going to compare two FJ80s. Because we're part of the beta testing program for the R2.8, Cummins commissioned us to build this FJ80 for them because they really wanted to see how the engine would perform in a bigger, heavier SUV. We gave this Land Cruiser a minor restoration and installed the R2.8 in front of a GM 6L90E automatic transmission. The combination works pretty well for pushing this big Land Cruiser around, but we're going to have to see how it compares to a stock 80 in this episode. So we're on our way to the gas station, or in this case the diesel station for this car, because we're going to fill both of these vehicles up all the way. Then after the testing today, we can fill them up again and see which one used more fuel. So Eddie, you've driven a lot of FJ80s. How's the sound in this one compared to the other ones you've driven as far as cab noise?
It is slightly noisier than the gas.
You can hear that turbo for sure. Now it's important to mention that we don't have the underhood insulating pad installed yet, and I think a lot of that turbo noise is actually coming through the hood.
Probably.
But diesel guys like to listen to the turbo anyway. Gotta make sure both these bad boys are topped off. Whatever we do, don't mess up, put gas in the diesel. I've seen that happen before.
I've done it before.
What?
I have filled a diesel with gas before.
How far did you get?
About a half a mile before I realized it didn't stop.
Yeah. What should we do? Should we do a blend? We should give this thing this gas Land Cruiser as much performance enhancement as possible. Look at that.
It's gonna need all the help it can get.
I'm intentionally making the guy who doesn't like diesels drive the diesel Land Cruiser, and the guy who does like diesels drive the gas Land Cruiser.
But I'm an 80 lover, so it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. So at the end of this test today, we're gonna meet at another gas station. We're gonna top these babies both back off, and then we'll be able to see which one got a little bit better fuel economy throughout the rigorous testing we're going to put them through. Nice. I have to admit that I already know this thing does pretty good on fuel, because I took it home for the weekend and I took an extended 4-day trip with it. About 360 miles, just back and forth from home to the kids' bus stop, to Gunnison, out to dinner, all mountain pass driving, and in snow lots of the time, 4-wheel drive lots of the time. I even got this baby stuck in like 2 feet of snow, spent some time getting out. So all in all, terrible conditions for calculating your fuel economy. But still, 360 miles, filled up in Gunnison yesterday, and I used 16.47 gallons. So that's about 23 miles to the gallon in bad conditions. I don't even know what this thing will do on flat ground, not in 4-wheel drive, but I'm excited to find out. Here we are at West Winds Air Park, Delta, Colorado, airport designation D17, and they have been kind enough to allow us to use their runway for the purposes of these tests today. We're going to do 3 different tests. We're going to do a 0 to 60 on the gasoline-powered FJ80. We're going to do a 0 to 60 on the Cummins, and then we are going to do a full-on, smoke-rolling, pedal-to-the-metal, quarter-mile strip with our drivers. Eddie Moore, driver of not sure which one where he's going to drive yet, and then Alex, driver of the other one. You guys know these two characters from the shop in previous episodes of Proffitt'S Resurrection Land Cruisers TV. So let's get to it. Okay, so this is going to be test run number 1. We've got the stock gas-powered 80, or somewhat built gas-powered 80 with a stock engine here, and Mad Max Alex is going to take this baby to the finish line. We've got a device inside that's going to calculate the exact time that it takes to get from 0 to 60, so you'll be able to watch that as we go. And are you ready? If he blows the engine up, I'm not paying for it. Here we go. Oh. just exciting. It's you take something and you're allowed to go faster than the normal street, it's automatically exciting. Are you ready, Eddie?
I'm ready.
I'm impressed, I have to say.
Where are you impressed?
I don't know. It's a big rolling piece of meat right there. Big tires. You gotta realize, in the industry we're in, we don't do a lot of high speed stuff. Like anything over 60 miles an hour is ridiculously fast for a rock crawler. Woo! So what was your time?
14 seconds.
14 seconds, 0 to 60?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. All right.
In
should
a
we-
soccer mom car.
Alex is the soccer
All right,
mom
Eddie.
here.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do this. All right, time for the diesel. Let's find out this small 4-cylinder diesel, if it can hang with the 6-cylinder power of the gas-powered 80. This is Eddie. Eddie's the driver, and he is primarily responsible for all of the mechanical work on this. Eddie, do you think this thing can handle it?
I think we can beat it.
Oh, here we go.
Oh.
It is a challenge. Whenever you guys are ready. So the gasoline-powered Land Cruiser was able to travel from 0 to 60 in 14 seconds flat. The diesel Land Cruiser with the Cummins 2.8 in it was able to travel from 0 to 60 in 15.02 seconds. A little bit longer, but not too bad. It's also important to note that right when Cummins came to pick the Land Cruiser up, the first thing they did was change the computer programming, and the 0 to 60 time would have to have gone up because that lag off the start was completely gone after they changed the program. I'm not sure, it's hard to tell from here how they do. Okay, so now it's time to get down and dirty. We're gonna put them head to head against each other and see who actually is faster in a quarter-mile strip. We've got Billy down at the way other end at the finish line, and Chandra, the lovely Chandra Proffitt, is going to start this off. Let's see how it goes.
Alrighty. Start your engine! Driver 1. Driver 2. Go!
Right off the line, the Cummins 80 was a little bit slower. But as I've said before, the Cummins Reflash made this vehicle feel a lot different off the line than it was during this test. It didn't really matter though, because by the end of the quarter mile, the turbo on the 80 had spooled up and it was passing the gasoline 80 as it crossed the finish line. All right, so that was fun. It's pretty clear that the diesel does have a little harder time getting off the line that first 50 feet or so. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna switch drivers and we're gonna head up to some real world testing. This kind of thing is fun, but everybody knows that we don't spend our lives in the quarter mile. So we're gonna go up and do some fun, some mountain driving, and see how it works up there. Okay, so here we are at the base of the Grand Mesa, which is a mountain in western Colorado. Flat top, hundreds of lakes on top. It's a beautiful place. Long, windy road headed up here. This is just about 20 miles from the shop, so we get to test stuff out on this road pretty often. A lot more real-world driving conditions than what we looked at a little bit earlier in the video. We're just gonna take these trucks on up to the top and see how they do. I've got 2 motivated drivers, my wife being one of them. If anybody who knows her would tell you she loves to drive fast, and she drives in the mountains all the time. She's actually a very good driver. So we're gonna take them up, see how it goes. You don't like driving fast like my wife? She's notorious on the mountain where we live. Everybody knows that she likes to drive fast. If they see her in the rearview mirror, they just pull over.
I can't get a speeding ticket.
You're not gonna get a speeding ticket.
Not on this road.
As you can see, this is not my lovely wife, Chandra. The reason she has so much experience driving in the mountains is that she drives to get our kids from the bus stop in a mountain area every day, which happens to be about 2.5 hours from here. So she had to take off, and now we switched drivers, and we're gonna just keep heading up the side of the Grand Mesa here with Alex, the new driver. Mountain driving conditions like this is where the Cummins 80 really felt at home. Nobody felt like we were pushing it hard to motivate up the hills like this, and we didn't even realize until we got to the top that Eddie was actually having a hard time keeping up with us. Top of the Grand Mesa! It's fun driving. Gotta like driving. All right. What do you guys think? Eddie, you've now had a chance to drive both of them on these passes. What are your impressions?
The Cummins drives way better. This, all I could do to keep up with it. It was pushing it as hard as it would go.
And you were driving, how do you feel you were driving it when that was
cruising nicely. I kept it about half throttle.
It didn't really feel like to us like we were doing anything but just driving normally. That's impressive.
Well, as you can smell from this one, I was working it hard.
It's a little warm.
It's a little warm.
Wow. We were talking about the fuel economy too. When we were waiting to roll in here, I'm not gonna disclose that at this point in the video, but there is a little bit of a difference in how much fuel each of these trucks has burned too, and we have done everything exactly the same in them all day, really trying to come up with the best way of testing the fuel economy in the same identical driving conditions. I want to point out that these two vehicles have very similar builds, same lift, same tire size, same bumpers, not a lot of differences in weight, I'm sure. Hopefully we get a chance to weigh them before this video airs so we can publish that information. But guys, have anything else to add, or should we head back to the warm shop?
Warm shop.
Warm shop.
All right.
I know Jeremiah wants this to be a surprise, but come here and look at this gas gauge. The gas motor. And then let's go look at the diesel real quick. There's going to be the difference.
So when we filled them up, we learned that the gasoline-powered 80 used just over 6 gallons of gas, and the Cummins diesel 80 used only 3.85. That's a pretty significant difference. It is important to mention that neither speedometer on these vehicles is calibrated accurately, so the trip meters aren't exactly reflective of the true number of miles we drove. So it was a good day. We got out and got to do some things we normally don't get to do. Drag racing in Land Cruisers is among them. We also got to drive around on the Grand Mesa and put these two Land Cruisers to the test. Well, we're back in the warm shop, and what a better place to film the ending than in this new part of our shop. We moved all of our body operations down here, and it was a welcome space to have. So thanks for going on a ride with us today with Proffitt'S Resurrection Land Cruisers TV. We'll see you next time. And of course, check out all of our other episodes on YouTube, our website at resurrectionlandcruisers.com, Facebook at Proffitt'S Resurrection Land Cruisers, and of course our Instagram at ProCruiser. See you next time. You see what happens? You see what happens? You leave the shop for one day, you're gone almost a full day. Listen, this is what happens. The country music comes out. When the cat's away, the country music will play. Go back over. Go over Jordan. Go over Jordan on your way into the welding area.
Put it on something.
What? Let's carry that into the showroom in the office.
We can't go any further.
You ever see a dog try to run through a door with a stick that's too long?
Yeah.
That's what we were about ready to see.